The best way to make money in the market is not actually by trading, it's by producing fear porn. If you're unsure what fear porn is, just take a scroll through your news feed. Maybe it's on Twitter, maybe it's on YouTube, maybe it's the news. But fear sells. In most cases, it is unnecessary. In some cases, like cryptos, like altcoins, it is very necessary to not lose money in the markets. What we've seen over the last 24 hours is many of these altcoins, some of the ones that were pumping just a couple of months ago, are now starting to slide yet again. They are dropping like stones and they won't be here. They won't be around in the next cycle, but many people are loading up on them every time there is a dip. Today's video, let's have a look at some of these altcoins which have been pumping, which have been dumping, how you can avoid this, when to buy, when to sell, all of the above with some of these major cryptos, and of course BTC as well as we trend sideways into the abyss. Don't go anywhere, hit that like and subscribe button. This is your home of macro cycle analysis. We cover cryptos, Bitcoin, the stock market, and real estate, the most important cycle there is in the world for you to understand what's going on in the economy. We've got that first piece to get through, but I just wanted to quickly mention our free trading guide and economic report was out yesterday. So if you check your emails, make sure you have a look for TIA Crypto. The economic report is out. If you didn't get it or you want to be subscribed, link is in the top of the video description. And if you want to be part of TIA Premium, the guys, our members here who are making very significant gains when these trades are on board, like we just saw with the volatility in the last 24 hours, 138%, well done, 113, 80%, 20%, 130%. These guys are getting really good with their trades in a difficult market. So when the bull market comes around, they're going to be very, very well prepared. And these are just the profits since I put out the previous video yesterday. So congratulations to you guys. Click that link in the second of the video description, TIA Premium. You'll come across here and you'll get to understand what it's all about. All right, guys, let's dive into the first piece here. Fear porn of recessions, China collapse, and the like are back in full force for the stock markets, for Bitcoin. It's always there. It's not necessary to go through this every single day. But like I said in the intro, for things like altcoins, they typically die. They get one chance. We get one chance of making a really good run, making those riches that everyone wants when it comes to altcoins, and then they die out. It's extremely rare. And I say extremely rare because there are now 26,000 cryptocurrencies, or as we all like to call them, altcoins as well, alternative coins to Bitcoin. And there is a handful of them that will make it through into the next cycle. So they live one cycle, and sometimes they make it through to the next cycle and also have a significant pump. Dogecoin was one of those, but the majority of them don't have a significant pump. You want these big pumps. You don't want a small pump again. Everything is going to move in a bull market, but you want to look for the ones that are going to give you a significant pump. So fear porn is the biggest seller. It's the easiest way to make money in the markets. Just sell fear. That's what the majority of people do. You can open up your Twitters and you can just look at, this should be wrong. Evergrande was 2021. No one even knows about it now. Banking crisis was March 2023. No one even cares about it now. And I have a list of these things here. Market climbs walls of worry. This is all important for our altcoins to get through so we can understand how these markets work. You can subscribe to my Twitter here. Click that there. There are the followers. Get us to 80,000. Thank you very much, guys. And follow the wall of worry. This is what happens in bull markets. Markets go up and there's a worry every single day. Speaking of worries, what we're looking for, so we can get a perspective here of our altcoins, like when these things should be pumping, when is going to be that time that we're looking for altcoins to move. What's happening now in the markets is basically a consolidation. So great chart here. We've looked at something similar over the last several days. The market has been up in 2023. And so what this chart shows is that when the market is up year to date 10% by June or in June, you can see here, and there's your 10% right there. So it's above 10% by June. What typically happens over the rest of that year is that you'll get something like a 25% gain. And it seems like the S&P is on that path. This is what we want to see for the rest of the market, because at the end of the day, altcoins will eventually pump once again. We're going to have a new batch of altcoins based on new narratives, and you can start to see some of these narratives developing. They may be there, they may not. Things like AI, things like layer ones again, potentially things like privacy. That was something big that was a couple of months ago. Who knows if it's going to last? And we want to have a look at these timeframes of how long some of these narratives could, well, basically when altcoins could potentially pop off again. And so whatever narrative is going at that point, that's probably going to be the narratives that will send particular altcoins pumping more than others. Not all of them are going to pump at the same time. So what we're expecting over the coming months is basically a sideways trend. We're going to test some lower prices. We're going to test some high prices again. It's basically what happens at these sorts of years. If we get a nice pump at the beginning of the year, then we have to consolidate. And guess what happened in that sort of July, August period? You had a lot of people flipping from bearish to bull, just saying, oh, look, I think now's probably a good time to be getting into the market. And they were so far wrong, because the best times to get into the market are when the market are down. And this is the hard part. This is the hard lesson to get through, because you say, well, my altcoins are crushed. My altcoins are well and truly down. Now must be a good time. They got a good team. They got a good this. They got a good that. Maybe they do. Maybe they do. But when we look at chart patterns, we need to see breakouts to confirm that all of these things that they talk about are actually happening. And sometimes we have to wait for higher prices to get into the market. That's the insurance policy that we pay to make sure that what they're saying and what the insiders are doing are actually getting bought up and the token is actually going to move. You know, we know from last cycle, a lot of these projects talk massive, massive shit, and it pumps the price. That's the hard part. Okay, so let's not lose our money there. All right, this is what's happening with the rest of the market. Probably got another few months of nothingness, so I'm not expecting any sort of altcoin massive pumps to occur in that period. Probably not until late 2024 for altcoins anyway. But yeah, we'll keep it up to date with the rest of the market. This isn't the end, but likely pause before an end of year run. So keep your hats on, get ready, get your shoes ready for possibly a November-ish, December-ish type of run from this period. As for the S&P, this is what it looks like so far. It's down 4%. Remember, we've been watching the 50% level here. I'm looking at a slightly bigger picture, the weekly, and then we have a few other areas to look at as well. If this level doesn't hold, we can drag it back here to have a look at the next 50, but essentially somewhere around 43.50 during this period of sideways chop and slop over the next potentially couple of months. So there's no surprises why altcoins are dropping as well. We're seeing ETH dropping slightly, probably the least out of many other altcoins. We've seen Bitcoin over the last day just have a mere 0.8% drop and still remain within its trading range here above 28. Doesn't mean it's going to continue to hold. The volatility is drying up, which we'll have a look at in a minute. But you can see now the importance of just holding Bitcoin at these early stages before the altcoin seasons take off. And we've looked at timeframes before when it comes to how long these alt seasons actually take. They typically only last these really bullish periods for BTC. You got that period there and around that period. And then there's going to be some other minor areas, but they're going to be much smaller in terms of gains for altcoins. And those periods do not last very long. The majority of the time, altcoins are down and then they just have these one-off runs for their season and then they die off again. What we're concerned with here is making sure our money doesn't evaporate in these bear markets. The crypto altcoin bear market, not the Bitcoin bear market. Bitcoin has had some pretty significant moves to the upside. Doesn't mean it can't come back and test prior levels. I'm on record now saying that I don't think we're going to break down from the 19.5K and consolidate under this level, because that would mean even worse that the market would then break down from the 15, but we haven't broken out of 32K yet either. So this is putting a lot of pressure on altcoins. Starting with ETH, which I don't consider an altcoin anymore. However, it is still dropping against Bitcoin, so that can be argued, of course, but it has dropped the least here over the last couple of days. So now we're looking at the ETH BTC charts. This is a really important part, so you can get a feel and an understanding for how strong these altcoins are against Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is the leader. If you want to be measuring things against US dollars, of course, we're still going to do that. But if you want to understand which ones are going to be strong, then you have to measure them against Bitcoin, because Bitcoin has been up this entire time. And if your altcoin is dropping against Bitcoin, this is probably the best scenario here is Solana. That is a very, very weak crypto to be holding during this entire period. It just means you're going to be getting less gains than holding Bitcoin, but taking a higher risk by holding something that is not as sound, not as stable as Bitcoin. You might have a different opinion of it, but the market does not. The market is saying Bitcoin is a better investment than something like Solana. So all you have to do is come across, understand your TA, and check the charts, just like a lot of our members do, and then you could trade it on any particular time frame. As I said, Shill here is in the top of the video description, TIA Premium, to learn how to do this full time, whether it's crypto, stocks, real estate. It's all the same thing at the end of the day. It's all speculation. So for ETH, it's looking the strongest out of these, as I've said. So this is the low that we need to start to watch for many of these altcoins. Go back and have a look at any altcoin. As I said, there's over 20,000 altcoins now. You want to see if they're holding up their lows. So that's basically one of the pieces of the puzzle. Remember, we talked about when do we buy, when do we sell? These are the hard things to get into. The point is, if your altcoin continues to break to new lows, that's a sell, that's a get out. Don't even touch that thing. Just because it's cheap, it doesn't mean it's going to be a great performer in the next cycle. A lot of new investors get caught out by that, and it takes them a couple of cycles to understand that. So hopefully you can get that before it's too late and your money evaporates by trying to buy these things on the way down, down, down. What we're looking for, so this is the buy times, is a breakout of consolidation. So the same pattern. This can be on any of the charts. You want to see the consolidation, the accumulation, and then the breakout. So that will confirm that it's accumulation. ETH did that in the previous cycle. 2020, it started to break out, came back in, got out, came back into the previous accumulation zone, finally got out, went on a run, came back and tested the tops, another run, higher low. There is the big move. That's what you want to see. The buy time is back here, it's back here, and it's another test. Or you can buy on the breakout and the breakout and the breakout. There's still plenty of profits to be had to the upside. So you can buy it on the retests of the tops with the stop underneath, saying that, look, if it doesn't hold out and the market drops further than that retest, then get out. Take a little loss, get out of the market, because it's telling you that it's going to be weak. But in this case, ETH broke out, came back, tested the top, tested at a higher price, and you can keep buying. So that's the easiest thing to do, is wait, which is actually the hardest thing to do for most people. That's the problem here when it comes to altcoins. Okay, so that's Ethereum at the moment. It's one of the strongest here, even though it has lower highs forming. It still has not broken significant lows here in June of 2022. XRP, big one that everyone looks at as well. There is June 2022. It hasn't broken those lows, but remember, it didn't go on a big run in 2021. So it's probably going to fizzle out at this point. And that's all it could do. That little bar, when you zoom out, that's all it could do after the SEC dropped its case, or XRP won the case. Either way, that's all it could do. Maybe in the bull market it's going to come back, but what you want to wait for is a break of these tops. That is the key level to be buying. So like I said in the intro, you want to be safe in these markets. You don't need to be a friggin' hero and try and buy the exact bottom. You just need to make sure you're in the game longer than everyone else, because that's when you win. It's not the hero that buys the bottom. The hero that buys the bottom is probably losing money on every single dip on the way down just to get the clout, and they can post on their whatever and say, well, I bought the bottom of that price. They're fools. Absolute fools, because they're probably buying each of these dips on the way down. You would have seen it in 2022 with people saying, I bought this low, and look at the prices now. They're even lower than where they were back then. So I don't get caught into that trap. Personally, I don't care if I don't buy the bottom. All my game is as an investor is to take profits out of the middle of the market like that and be done with it. Go on holidays like I am now in France. It doesn't matter. Don't be buying these lows, okay? So moving on to Solana, we haven't had a breakout yet. We've got a low potentially forming here, but we still don't have a confirmed breakout. So that's what we want to look for. We've got the buy opportunities, the sell opportunities I've also talked about. I sold Solana on the breakdowns here at the 50% levels, even on the USD chart. And when I posted about this publicly on Twitter and YouTube that I sold my Solana, I got a lot of hate for it. And that's typical at these times in the market. No one wants to believe that the market is about to collapse, but it's going to happen time and time again. That's just part of the cycles. So what do we do here? Well, I still don't see any macro buy signals yet for trades because we haven't seen any major higher highs or a breakout of key ranges here. You can see the low and the top just getting rejected there at about 120,000 Satoshis. That is a key level there. So even some of these cryptos which were big time in the last couple of months, look at this through January into these tops here in around June and July, have now started to break down again in these last couple of days. So I suspect these lower highs forming and the breakdown of the 50%, I think they're going to break these levels again, these previous lows in May and June. So keep an eye out for that, like something like here, like Injective. Cardano, again, continuing to break down, just showing how friggin' weak it is over and over again. I don't know what Charles Hoskin is doing, but he's not doing much, or at least the buyers, the investors, don't believe much is happening. Yes, the ecosystem might be pumping and all that sort of stuff, but we're just looking at ADA BTC right now, and this thing has just been on a mega downtrend. Lower highs, lower lows. If it breaks this level here at about 800 Satoshis, watch out to the downside. It's back at the previous levels of 2020 and 2021. Rune. You might say, well, Rune has been pumping. Sure, it's been pumping over the last several days. Nice reversal at this point. But if you look back, it's basically nothing in comparison to where it was. And it hasn't even broken key levels yet. You've got a few highs here in April. You've got more highs here in December and January. And it just hasn't got back to that point. I'd be waiting to see when these things actually do break to give me that confirmation that we're going to go on these mega runs. Overall, I doubt any of these sort of mega runs are going to happen for previous altcoins, which is why I'm waiting for the next cycle of altcoins, the next narratives. And how long is this going to take? Let's go to BTC. Let's have a look. The Bitcoin low to the breakout points here, we're about 600 or 700 days. We've covered this in greater detail here, but I just want to do a quick update. So about that sort of 700 days from the lows when Bitcoin started to break out, and then altcoins, like we see with ETH, they started to break out around that sort of January period of the bull market year, the year that everyone talks about. So if we just look at, roughly speaking, about that 700 days from the bottom here, that's going to take us out to the second half of 2024. Yeah, a few of the numbers, a few of the data that we looked at has come in just slightly earlier, maybe that sort of earlier part of the second half of 2024. But for altcoins, I'd probably be looking just that little bit after, like what we've seen in the past, because those moves for altcoins are much shorter than most people expect. Basically, you don't get very long with the hype up before they basically come back down to earth. Look at Solana. You have the one hype, you have the second hype, then the complacency into that final top, and then a mega collapse. It happens time and time again. You've got some standouts. Doge has been one, but I'm not counting on trying to find that in the old batch of 26,000 altcoins. Hit the like and subscribe button. Don't forget these links in the top of the video description if you want to be joining our members, learning how to trade the markets while they are down, while it is tricky times. These guys are making some great profits with the systems that we teach in TIA Premium. My brother and I have been doing this for over 15 years. Check out the links in the video description below. And if you want to see more about the reviews, there is a link down there, the free Discord community. You can find that down there. Thanks once again, guys. This is how it ends for crypto in a Bitcoin bull market. This is what happens to cryptos every single time you get into a Bitcoin bull market. They die off. Maybe they get some little pumps. Maybe they don't. I don't want to take that risk because I want to be making money at the end of the day. Thanks again, guys. I'll see you at the next video. Until then, peace out.